Hey guys, what's up? It's Lovenji here, and thanks again for coming back to Populous the Beginning. Last mission we cleared solo, the most disappointing mission ever, following the unlocking of all the spells. And today we take on mission 23. And at last it's a proper mission with all three tribes, all the spells, all the buildings, no nonsense bard, and we're gonna ruin it. Okay, with that said, let's get this underway. Okay, so this is mission 23, known as Inferno. Once again, all three tribes stand against us. We now have all the buildings, we now have all the spells, and fortunately for us, we go straight into a speed up segment. But not because we're building a huge tribe for an epic showdown, we're actually going into a rush segment using the Wildman phase. And it will slow down here as we begin our first attack. So you have the Dakini are directly north to you, and the Matak are northeast of your position. And the Chimera are alone on a small island to the west. They will be very annoying and they will use spies mostly to burn your buildings, with the occasional naval attack as well. And the Dakini Shaman is very nice to stand right on the edge there. And you can use the mana you get from killing her to bolster your army very, very quickly. We're sporting a very impressive number of Braves, which we can use to rush them down, which is exactly what we're doing. Now, it's important to say, freshly converted units, if they're left alone to stand idle, they return to either a guard tower or the reincarnation site. So when you've freshly converted Braves, it's important to keep them busy, because you'll very quickly find that your army of 19 Braves, as we have here, becomes an army of 8 Braves as several of them get bored and go home instead of helping you with the fight. So that spells the defeat of the Dakini. Very easy opening stage for this mission. For a mission where we are fighting all three tribes in the end game, you do tend to wonder how difficult the mission can be. And for this particular mission, it's not very. So we're going to take this impressive brave army and we're actually going to attack the Matak as well. So these are some of the best blasts I've fired in the entire series. And again, the Matak Shaman positions herself on the hill, ready to be easily knocked into the water by a blast spell. Now, I could have used the lightning spell, but I really wanted to do it to start killing large clumps of Braves. I find that that's the most beneficial use for it. So all we're doing now is just using our huge follower count to destroy the Matak huts so that they are no longer producing. Now, I've told you before, enemies will enter surrender mode once they've built enough huts and then have lost all those huts and don't have a particularly high population. So I'm trying to destroy all the huts before the Matak can build more and then reduce their population significantly, which is what the lightning spell will be for. A better player than me would be building huts at home during the same time. We call that macro play in the RTS world. I'm better at it in other games, but Populous, I find, as much as I adore this game and have played this game for many, many years, Populous doesn't make macroing at home very easy. So this is what I was talking about now, we're just finishing off the Matak. And that spells the defeat of the Matak tribe as well. Now this is actually the first time I've killed both the tribes with a rush. What I normally do is kill the Dakini, then pray to the Stonehead in the middle, and use the gift of the Firestorm spell in that Stonehead to attack the Matak. But by then the Matak are more established and it makes attacking them significantly harder. But with that large population, we can actually just kill the Matak as well, and that takes a significant chunk off of the time of this mission. So normally when I used to do this mission, it was another one of those 40-minute long epics, even with the Dakini rush, because of getting to the Chimera as well as wiping out the Matak once they've established themselves. Instead, the original clip to this before speeding up was about 21 minutes. We are using the speed up function because this is just the boring watch me build a hut, watch me build several huts, watch me plan my village. I also said at the start that the Chumara are to the west, and then I did that with the map to indicate they're to the east. You'll see what I mean by they're to the west in a minute in terms of how we actually access them. It's the challenge to a completely cylindrical world because they are technically both to the east and to the west. But yes, this path that I am creating is on the western side of our village, which is why I always refer to the Chumara as on the west of our tribe, because I use this path to actually attack them. If you haven't watched any of my other series and other videos in this series, you'll know that I hate boats, and so the other alternative, which is to land on the Chumara's island via boats, I'm not doing. I'm just outright refusing to. Now, I fire, after saying these are some of the most amazing fireballs that I've ever fired, you can see these blasts are absolutely diabolical. They are some of the worst blasts. So I thought there was a shaman in there. It turns out there was not. And now I'm looking for the shaman. I'm checking to see if the shaman is attacking me because I couldn't spot her immediately. So I just had a little bit of a panic. I was like, oh no, am I being attacked? And now we're just going to rain in some general destruction with our wonderful friend the Tornado. Tornado's an incredibly reliable spell. You can use it to pick up armies, do loads of damage, commit suicide if you don't like your shaman, as you've seen happen to me many times. But its most important use is its ability to completely destroy buildings. There are some known glitches with the Tornado in which if you cast it from outside of its range, it may quote-unquote miss in that the animation plays and it appears on the building, but it'll deal no damage at all. There's a fun spell combination that I'll be using in the expansion that I don't use here, in which if you cast lightning on a building and then immediately tornado it, it significantly increases the damage that the tornado does. As such, some of the buildings that the tornado struggles to finish, like the Spy Hut and the Fire Warrior Hut, take much more damage, and it's far more likely that you'll actually destroy those buildings. The combined cost for the two is about the same as one Earthquake spell. That's a trick. Well, the first part of the trick I already knew, but the actual knowledge about the combined cost, that comes from the beginning, a channel I shouted out previously in the series. So, killing the Chumara at this point isn't particularly exciting. I'm doing this in... It's not particularly low mana mode, but I am doing this with less mana than I would normally do this, because I was kind of anxious about finishing off the mission, getting it done and out of the way. So it means instead of having really easy tornadoes coming almost constantly like a consistent stream, we're having to actually, you know, heavens forbid, we're having to actually wait for our spells. I get eyes on the enemy shaman and do my best to take her out, just for that extra mana regeneration. So, this is a good time to call out what I was talking about earlier, which is the AI's scripted defense to you attacking them, in that they will just progressively send one warrior at a time. Because I'm in their tribe for a very long time in this mission, you actually get to see that very clearly. You can see how each warrior will charge me one by one instead of a large group of warriors. And when I kill that warrior, she'll either train a new one or take another patrolling warrior from somewhere in her tribe, or from one of the huts, because the AI likes to put warriors in huts, and attack you with it. Now, what you'll also see, because I do spend just this much time in her base attacking her, is when she runs out of warriors, her next default option is to send fire warriors, and you will actually see her start to send fire warriors as she runs out of warriors. Again, I kill her for the mana, but at this point her mana regeneration is so low that it's barely worth using the lightning spell on her to actually kill her. But yes, this is just a slow, long, progressive wiping out of the enemy Chimera tribe. It's not hugely exciting, but you can see, because we connected through land, we didn't have to worry about any of the towers, their little alcove in the front. You could, in theory, again, I've mentioned it to a couple of the commenters, I don't particularly like using an army, but if you're inclined to use the armies, you can march an army over there relatively comfortably. You'll have to watch out for the swarm. The enemy shaman likes to stand in a reincarnation site. So if you are going to attack with an army, I would recommend you use your shaman first, snipe their shaman with a lightning spell, then move your army in. She really likes to spam hypnotize, blast, and swarm. You can use magical shield to defend yourself, but that would rely on you to actually charge magical shield, which, as you've noticed with my mana charging, because I've been charging offensive spells, I just haven't got around to it yet. So we're at the point now where we're getting attacked by fire warriors instead of warriors. Our population is running really, really low, and we're running towards the end of the video actually. In fact, there will be, coming up shortly, there will be another sped up segment just as I polish off the Chimera. Really could have done with speeding it up much earlier. So our friend the Chimera Shaman is doing everything she can to try and stay in this. She's just converting followers, she's really just being a nuisance at this point. But with the use of fire warriors, I'm just being very mindful about where I stand. I actually find fire warriors harder to deal with than warriors. A little trick to dealing with fire warriors, because if they shoot you, your spell cast is cancelled because of the little hot land you do, and their blast range is exactly the same as yours. If you're ever going to engage with a fire warrior to try and hit them with a spell, make sure you hold control to keep that spell selected, because you may need to click to cast that spell more than once. I've actually been in a situation before where I was lazy and didn't do that. I've ended up dying to a single fire warrior because each time I click and then fire blast, it gets cancelled, and I have to click and then fire it again, and it gets cancelled again, and I end up just dying to the fire warrior because I'm not playing the game properly. Alternatively, you can just use a longer range spell or cast hypnotize near them. There's a load of things you can do, but if you're trying to be mana efficient and you just want to kill a fire warrior with a blast, that's what I recommend you do. Now this really is the end of the mission. Okay guys, that was mission 23. It's a pretty trivial mission when you rush down two of the enemies right at the start of the game. And the Chimera tend to just sit and do their own thing. If you leave them alone, they'll attack you with boats, but more than anything, they'll just annoy you with spies. The Dakini are meant to be your real threat, but none of the tribes are a particularly large threat when you rush two of them down like that. Okay, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see me do in the next video. Bye for now.